Hi, this is Dina for Splitcoaststampers. In this tutorial, I'm creating a little stage scene using some layered masking techniques. This is a card you could do with any character stamp. I'm using this Golden Age set from Kindred Stamps, which has some vintage performers in it. I'm going to position this little guy sort of in the center of my card panel, but your character doesn't have to be exactly centered. I'll share a sample later where my character is to the side, so at this point just plan how you want your scene and start that way, but middle-ish is the easiest to work with. I'm going to color my scene with Copics later, so plan your coloring ahead too and make sure that you use a compatible ink for stamping here. While I have my stamp in the MISTI, I'm going to stamp again on a sticky note so I have most of the image on the sticky part of the note, and I'll cut that out just inside the outline to create a mask. And then I'll add a little more temporary adhesive so he sticks down all the way. Line that up with the stamped image and stick it down really well. And then we are ready to build the scene around him, starting with a floor line. And this can be anywhere across the card horizontally. It just needs to be above his little feet. The higher up that it is, the further back it will appear to be. So just decide what will work best with your scene. Next, you're going to pick a vanishing point and mark it. And this can be anywhere above the floor line, but it should be somewhat centered. I started by drawing a line straight down from that point to the bottom of my card. And what I should have done is to line up the panel with my grid mat first. So now I'm doing that, so that I have 1/2 inch marks across the bottom of my panel. If you don't have a grid mat, you will want to make those marks along the bottom of your panel first using a ruler and a pencil. For each floorboard, I'm going to line up my ruler with the vanishing point and a point at the bottom of the panel. And I'm going to draw lines just from the baseboard to the bottom of the panel, going across the card until my floor is complete. And you'll see that I will use the 1/2 inch marks out to the right and left of the card to fill up the whole floor space. So kind of plan for that too as you're designing your card. The vanishing point is an art technique that is really helpful in building a correct perspective when you're doing a scene. The lower the vanishing point is, the more it will look on your card like the stage is at your eye level. And the higher it is, the more it will seem like you're looking down at the stage. And on the card that I'll show later, my vanishing point was actually about 1 inch above the top edge of my card, so you can go beyond your panel too. Some of my lines went a little beyond my floor line there, so I'm sort of beefing up the line by adding another one there, widening it so those little marks don't show as much. And then I decided to add another line above that to create a baseboard too. My next step was coloring in the floor, and I kept that very simple. I colored the full floor with a single color to create an even base. And then I went back in with a slightly darker color and just really lightly added some strokes along the lines of each board to create a wood grain effect. Next, I colored the back wall, and again, that's just a solid color. If you wanted to stamp or stencil it to create a backdrop or some wallpaper, you could do that too. And this would be the time to add those details in. Next, I want to create a spotlight, and I'm going to cut a mask out of this contact paper. This is removable contact paper and it's clear. I'm going to cut a long oval shape, and then I will place that mask so the feet are in the center, right over the mask that's on the card already. And you can use whatever masking material you prefer. I just know that this will stay put, and I like being able to see the contrast of the ink as I brush it on. I'm also masking off the wall above the baseboard with the edge of a piece of paper. I just have this paper to protect my workspace, and I folded it down to create a line. This is a gray hybrid ink, so it's going to be able to go right over my Copics and other inks without affecting them, which is nice. And I just want enough ink on there to create a contrast toward the spotlight. And then I'll use the same ink in black around the edges so that the stage is darker further away from the light. I need 2 points at the top of my card, and these are going to mark the edges of my spotlight. They can be centered or off to the side a little, but don't worry about them being perfectly placed. I'm going to work one side at a time and line up the left mark with the outermost point of my oval mask and mask that off with a straight edge. And I'll use that same gray ink to brush along the edge and then come in with black again toward the edge of the panel. And then I'll do the same on the right side of the card. Line up my mark and the edge of the oval, then brush on gray ink, and then black. When you're done, you can carefully remove your masks, and you will finish up the panel by coloring in the image and adding any other embellishments or effects that you want to finish your scene. I'm adding a shadow in first, and remember that your shadow will be short because the light is directly above the character. If you're not confident with drawing shadows, just kind of draw a tiny smushed version of the character upside down in front of him. Here's my finished card, and I'll tuck the coloring in at the end of the video in case you want to watch that happen. Here is the other card that I mentioned earlier, and this one has some variations with the character off to one side, the spotlight at an angle, and the vanishing point up higher. So you can see the design feels more like we're looking down at the stage. So there's some different things that you can do with your design to change the finished look of your card. On this card, I used a battery eraser to remove some of the sponged ink and also some spattered shimmery ink for a little sparkle in the air. So there are a lot of fun variations you can do with this effect, and I hope you've already thought of the perfect character you would like to put on a little stage on your next card. Have fun, and please share in the gallery. Thank you so much for watching.